The Wellness Revolution starts now.
Hello, I'm Dr. Steve Hotze, and welcome to today's program. I am privileged and honored to have a longtime guest of the Hotze Health and Wellness Center here with us today, Sherry Fowle. Sherry, thank you for joining us today on the program. Sherry's been a longtime guest. She started back here in November of 2012, so it's been 12 years she's been here.
It's been a long time.
Now, Sherry is a native-born Houstonian, and tell us a little bit about yourself. What area of Houston did you grow up?
I grew up in the Houston Heights.
In the Heights. Mm-hmm. And where'd you go to high school?
John H. Reagan Junior High.
Reagan High. Oh, my goodness. I remember the old days. As I was mentioning to you earlier, I went to St. Thomas High School down Shepherd from y'all, and we had a rivalry with Reagan. We had several varsity football games with Reagan, so and they had a great team back then. I've got fond memories of those days. As I was mentioning to you earlier, back in the early 60s when we were growing up in Houston, city population was 175,000. Do you remember... Do you ever remember going downtown to see the movies at the Majestic or Metropolitan?
I remember going downtown for the rodeo parades, but that's about it.
Well, in Houston back then, when I was growing up, if you wanted to go see a movie, there were two theaters. Well, it was the River Oaks had a theater, and then there was the Majestic and Metropolitan downtown, and you'd take a bus downtown and go watch a movie. Mm-hmm. That's what you did. Or if you went out on a date, you took them downtown. I mean, that was the old days. And then they built Sharpstown. And Sharpstown had a big theater out there, and that was the first big shopping center away from downtown Houston. Well, Sherry, you came here back in 2012, and what led you to decide to come see us here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center?
Mainly being tired, not able to sleep well.
And you were born in what year?
1956.
You were born in 56, so... enjoy your youth while you have it, young lady. That's what I'm going to say.
Enjoy every day you're given, right?
That's right. So you came in here when you were about 56 years of age, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood. And your symptoms, what kind of symptoms were you having? You're having fatigue. What else? Fatigue,
night sweats, not able to rest well, had long hair, would get up in the middle of the night and blow dry your hair and lay a sheet down or a towel down so you could sleep again.
Oh my gosh.
Really bad.
You were having the night sweats like that. So what was it that, had you seen other physicians?
I finally went to see my OBGYN and said, I can't keep living like this. My hair's too long. It's too hot at night. In the middle of winter, I was wearing city shorts to work. I said, this is not right. And he said, well, we can put you on birth control because it'll help with the hormones.
Right.
And it did help somewhat, but it didn't help everything.
Right.
So...
and then what? How'd you end up here?
Well, I had seen you numerous times on TV, Deborah Duncan.
Right.
I heard you on your radio podcast. Program. My sister says if you need help, you need to go see Dr. Hotze. And she's never been here. So it's all her fault, but that's good.
Well,
that's a good thing.
Good for her.
Yeah.
So you came in, and you came in 2012. And when you came in, what were you expecting to find when you came in here? When you walked through the door, what? Tell me about your experience when you came in.
It was a total different experience than going to a regular doctor's office.
How was that?
Well, it looks more like a home setting. You feel like a guest. That's what you're called. And they make you feel real comfortable about all your information. And you visit with the people more so than you just come in, let's get you through, run you through, and you're out the door.
Right. Well, oftentimes in many medical facilities and offices, the patients are just numbers.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I know there's one hospital here in the city that I was told about, and there were patients lined up, and they would call them by their number instead of by their name. Yeah. Okay, number 1198, it's your turn. So how are you doing, 1198? So it's very impersonal. And we decided years ago, Sherry, that we were going to get out of the medical practice and go into the hospitality industry. Interestingly enough, that seems like, why would a doctor do that? And within that context, we would provide medical care.
Right.
So our patients became our guests.
Right.
And we wanted to give them extraordinary experiences and let them feel affirmed and understood and encouraged. And we were here to be their friend and help them get on a path of health and wellness naturally. So you came in, who did you see? Dr. Sheridan or?
It was Amber Little.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Amber was one of our nurse practitioners back in those days. So you saw her, and then you transitioned after she left to
Angelica.
Yep.
And now it's Jason.
And now you're with Mr. Gurlis, too. Yes. And so tell me about it. When you visited with our providers, what was that experience like?
It was great because you felt like they listened to what your issues were. They heard what you were saying. You look at your blood work, but they also look at what you're telling them.
Right. They're listening,
yeah,
right? And that's important. Many doctors practice medicine by simply lab values.
Right.
And you can have symptoms, but if the lab values show everything is normal, oftentimes they make you feel like it's all in your head.
Right.
And many doctors, when you have symptoms, whether it's fatigue or you can't think clearly, whether you got joint muscle aches and pains, whatever it may be, they pull a drug out of the bag and say, well, let's write a prescription and let's put you on some medication, right? And you'd been through with that. When you first came in, you had already been through the change of life when you came in.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the doctor, instead of treating you with replenishing the hormones that you used to make naturally in your body, instead of replenishing you with your natural hormones, put you on birth control pill, which are totally unnatural.
Right.
And that's not good. So when you came in, you were started on natural bioidentical hormones.
Correct.
And bioidentical means the same identical hormone your body used to make in adequate amounts when you felt well.
Right.
So we replenish those, both natural progesterone, natural estrogen, and you had the signs and symptoms of low thyroid as well.
Yep.
And so we started you on some natural thyroid hormone. So that was back in November 12th. When did you begin to notice any improvement in your situation?
Probably within the first 3 months.
Yeah.
We got on the yeast-free eating, which
Okay.
helped me get back on track as far as my diet was concerned. The energy started to come back over a period of time. I don't know that it was any set time, but you just feel better. You notice that you feel better. I had been to other doctors and mentioned thyroid problems because it ran in my family.
Right.
And they kept saying, oh, you're within range.
Right. This is important to note. When doctors treat people for hormones, they look at the blood levels. And when they look at thyroid blood levels, the thyroid blood levels come from the lab and they give a range. That range encompasses 92% of the population. And let me explain that. The way the lab gets the range, they measure 1,000 or 10,000 people that have come in the last several days, and they get an average or a mean of what the mean score is for thyroid. And then they have a statistical term called 2 standard deviations from the mean. Think of a bell-shaped curve. The middle of the bell-shaped curve is the average, and then you go to each side where people are high or low. Well, that bell-shaped curve encompasses 92% of the population. So 92% of the people who get their blood tested for thyroid, the doctor's always going to say, well, you're in the normal range.
Yeah.
So it can't be thyroid. But the important thing to know about thyroid hormones, Sherry and listening audience, is thyroid hormones in the blood is not where the action takes place. They have to enter the cells of your body. And in your cells, they act as a spark plug that ignites the power plant in your cells to produce electrical energy. And if you don't get enough active thyroid hormone into your cells, then they tend to run sluggish. And so what happens over time, particularly in men and women, as they march through their lives and their hormone levels begin to decline, their sex hormone levels decline, that adversely affects their thyroid, their ability to utilize thyroid hormones. And so inevitably, part of the aging process is we just get more tired and get fatigued, and we don't have the energy we used to have. You go to the doctor, and oftentimes they say, well, honey, all my patients your age feel that way. Why do you think you should feel any different? You're not 18. I don't believe that. I believe at whatever age you are, you can be full of energy. And you can do that by simply replenishing, is what we did with you, Sherry, replenish your hormones with the same identical hormones your body made in adequate amounts, and we replenish those. And guess what? Your cells rejuvenate.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you feel younger and more youthful. You don't have the hot flashes, the night sweats. You're thinking clearly. You don't have the fatigue you've had. So obviously, you've done very well on the program. You wouldn't be coming back.
That's right. Hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I've already fixed it, so I just keep coming back for more.
Well, Sherry, it's a privilege to have you as a guest here, and we love the fact that you've done well, and we pray that for every one of our guests that they would do well. Would you have any message you would give any of our listening audience?
Yeah, if you're feeling bad and you don't feel like you're listened to and heard by other doctors, come to Hotze's, because they listen to you. They don't just go on your blood work. They look at what you're feeling like and what you're telling them you feel like, and they base your regimen on what you're telling them, and then usually feel better shortly thereafter.
Well, Sherry, thank you for being in, and thank each one of you for tuning in today. We would love to have the opportunity to do what we've done with Sherry, and that is to partner with you to get you on a path of health and wellness. Sherry, I often say this, that every guest that comes here is in the Health Olympics.
Yeah.
Whether they know it or not, they're in the Health Olympics. And they're coming to us, and we're a lot like health coaches. We make some recommendations on what you might be able to do, either in your changing your eating habits, your hormones, vitamins and minerals, exercise program, detoxification program. We make some recommendations on what you can do to help you get a gold medal.
Right.
And that's our goal for every guest. We don't put a gun to anybody's head, but we've been around the corner enough that we've seen almost 34,000 or 35,000 guests here at the Hotze Health Wellness Center. So we know what works. And you took the regimen and you won a gold medal.
Yeah, I think so too.
Congratulations. So if we can help you and you'd like us to partner with you, just please feel free to give us a call at 281-698-8698. That's our new guest consulting department. We'd be glad to visit with you. Thank you again for joining us today, and thank you, Sherry.
Thank you, Dr. Hotze. I appreciate you having me.
You bet.
Physician's Preference Pharmacy is a compounding pharmacy specializing in custom-made prescriptions made especially for you right here on site in our compounding lab. Compounded medications offer a unique solution because you're not one size fits all, and we believe that your medication shouldn't be either. You may require a dose to be made that is not commercially available, or you might even be allergic to an inactive ingredient in a medication, which may present a barrier to treatment for you and requires it to be made without that bothersome ingredient. Your body has unique needs, which means that you deserve a customized approach. So if your medications aren't helping you feel your absolute best, then consider speaking with your doctor about having your medications compounded today.
Information provided on this program is neither intended nor implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice and is not intended to replace the services of a physician, nor does it constitute a doctor-patient relationship. You should not use information from this radio program to diagnose or treat a health problem or disease without consulting with a qualified healthcare provider. If you have or suspect you have an urgent medical problem, promptly contact a professional healthcare provider or call 911. Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution advises you to always seek the advice of a physician or other qualified health provider prior to starting any new treatment or with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Any application of the recommendations from this program is at the listener's discretion.